Hi everybody, I'm Rosie and welcome back to another episode of How Long Can It Possibly Take a Woman to Watch a Movie? Thank you guys for the warm reception you gave to the last video. I was very nervous about it. Not because I thought anybody would hate me or hate the content that I make and still watch it and say something rude or something like that. Just because I have a lot of issues with the way that I look and the way that I sound and the things that I say. And you see me try to get ahead of that when I make fun of my eyebrows or my hair or something like that, or the time of day, my lighting. But I actually got some nice compliments about the things that I was most nervous about, which was nice. Thank you for that. I was really happy about your comments and engagement with me on social media, and I did the research on this. I was so happy that my hairline actually evened out. So thank you guys for my hairline. Before we get right back into the film, I wanted to clarify a couple things. You remember in the last video, I closed out by saying that I was a little uncomfortable by the implication that Raven was a lot younger than Magneto, or that she was underage. Somebody commented on my post on Tumblr and they said, it's stated in the script that she's 22 and Charles is 24, if you believe that. I thought it was an example of Charles being a controlling ass. See, that makes a lot of sense to me, and it actually makes me feel better despite the fact that Charles is being a controlling ass, because the alternative is that she is very young, and some of my viewers are actually very young. And let me tell you, if a man that looks like Magneto comes up to you and tries to get with you, please run. Please run, escape as quickly as you can. So thank you guys for that. Let's tune back into the film and see how far we get. Maybe we'll finish it. Maybe I won't have a whole lot to say about some things. I doubt it. Let's see how it goes.
The kind of mutations that you were talking about in your thesis. I need to know if they may have already happened.
Something tells me you already know the answer to your question.
It's very interesting to me that Charles likes Moira, because so far what we know about the character, you would think that he would be intimidated by the kind of woman that Moira is. Because Charles goes after co-eds, he goes after women that he considers that will fall for his little shtick that he does, the little mutation pickup lines. So watching him interact with Moira is very...
Power to absorb energy keeps me young.
Sorry. He said keeps me young? Sir, it is not doing a good job. That's the first time we see Sebastian Shaw's power. Do I like how they do it in the movie? No, I don't like it. That's gonna be a trend you're gonna see from me over and over again. No, I don't like it. I don't like him. I don't like that Emma is just kind of like tacked onto him. God, it really disappoints me how little she does in this movie. Even when in scenes like this where she has a few lines, she delivers them with this kind of like I don't care attitude that I wish wasn't there. I really wish they had gone more in depth with her. But you know, what can you do? They want to show off Sebastian Shaw. They want him to be the primary villain. And that's how we get a villain that doesn't really appeal to me very much. That I will be satisfied watching die, so they did that right there. But that just doesn't appeal to me personally.
McTaggart, you really think that some crackpot scientist is going to make me believe in sparkly dames and vanishing men?
This guy right here on the left, that's me. You won't hear me say this a lot, but I don't blame the CIA for this one. If some guy who looks like Charles, who is 24 apparently, came in and gave me a PowerPoint on like magic mutants or whatever, I would not believe them either.
No, Agent Stryker, although I could ask you about your son, William, who you were thinking about, which is very nice, but I think I'd rather ask you about the Jupiter missiles America are currently placing in Turkey.
Brought a goddamn spider!
I don't blame them for this one either. Charles, of all the things, I understand he needed like a radical something to get them going, but I would not fuck with the US and their missiles. I would not do it. Really quick aside, I noticed this while I was editing the video. He calls him Agent Stryker, and he talks about his son, William. His son, William Stryker, is the bad guy from the first X-Men movie. The one that, like, chases Wolverine around.
How's that for a magic trick?
Best I've ever seen.
So we see that they get handed off to the guy who does not even get to sit at the table. Some of the things that this movie does is so clever to me and so enjoyable that I kind of feel bad about that it's not great. It's not a great movie. You could have done a lot better than this. And it in these moments where it does shine, I feel that in my heart so much that I want it to be a better movie. I mentioned in the comments of the last video that I'm actually enjoying it so far. I haven't really found the moment that really has me going, or something like that.
Levine? Levine, what's wrong with you?
Absolutely nothing. I've just frozen him for a moment because I'd like to talk to you. It's good, isn't it? Agent McTaggart has the lead on Sebastian Shaw, and if we don't move now, apparently we're going to lose him.
What?
Not only can he read minds, he can communicate with them as well.
Moira and I have just had a lovely conversation.
Yes, we did.
That is incredible. but I cannot take you anywhere else without permission from upstairs.
Would you like to see one more magic trick?
Okay,
Get in the car.
good idea.
So here we see Charles literally flaunting his powers around. We see him take control of that guy's mind to freeze him. We see him go into Moira's mind without permission. We see him going into this guy's mind without permission. And because he's so likable, you're like, wow, is that good? I don't know. Is it bad to limit his abilities? Is it bad to tell a mutant not to do the things that they were born to do? And that's one of the questions that Magneto poses in this. He kept the knife, the blood and honor knife. I don't know that he would. I wouldn't keep the Nazi knife. I think that's up to him, though.
This is the U.S. Coast Guard. Do not attempt to move your vessel. Stay where you are.
The U.S. Coast Guard is packing missiles?
They have a telepath.
I've lost Shaw. I've lost Shaw. There's something blocking me. This has never happened to me before.
Yet another moment where I wish Emma was a little bit more of a developed character. You saw that it really impacted Charles to have her in his mind. And wow, that is really cool. I can't imagine taking a guy who just told you he has this amazing power and then you get there and he's like, oh, sorry, my bad. Turns out I can't help you in any way. Does he say a word?
God.
Jesus.
Get inside.
This character's putting a black bolt on me right now. He doesn't say anything, but he does do something.
Stop.
Charles! You okay?
There's someone else out there.
I think that watching Sebastian Shaw do that stupid little run has made up for every other part of this movie that I haven't liked.
Let it go! You have to let it go!
I know what this means to you, but you're going to die. You have your tricks, I have mine. I'm like you. Just calm your mind. I thought I was alone. You're not alone. Eric, you're not alone.
Oh. Here, I thought that scene usually does hit me on an emotional level, just because I remember being young and being bisexual personally and kind of not fully understanding that there were other people like me and that I wasn't alone in the world. And in that scene, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hold on. That scene feeds into a very primal, very innate desire to be understood, to have companionship, to not be alone in the world anymore, to know that out there are people who are just like you and that have gone through similar things as you have. And that's something that is what X-Men focuses on, what the comics focus on, what the movies try to focus on. And it's what I like about them the most, why I connect to these characters and why I enjoy talking about them so much. And I think that is a beautiful scene. I talk a lot about this movie, about the things that I don't like about it, but there's not an absence of things that I like. Clearly.
We might need your help to stop them.
Marvelous. So we're to be the CIA's new mutant division, yes?
Anybody wear any color other than black in this movie? No? Okay.
This is Hank McCoy, one of our most talented young researchers.
How wonderful. Another mutant already here. Why didn't you say?
Say what?
Because you don't know.
You ever get outed by a coworker? It's not fun. Charles, come on. If you read his mind enough to know that he was a mutant, then you read his mind enough to know that it was a secret. Manipulative little shit.
Hank?
Didn't ask, so I didn't tell.
See, when I was young, I didn't understand what he just said right there. Don't ask, don't tell. For those of you who are unfamiliar with that line, in the military, if you are gay, the policy used to be or is, don't ask, don't tell. And that way you don't suffer consequences for that, which is ridiculous to me. They include this here as a joke, question mark, because if they were trying to code Hank as a gay character, then I would understand. But he has an entire relationship with Raven. He could be bi, he could be something. But this is not the first time that Hank does this. In the comics, if you're familiar with them, Hank actually does joke about being gay. He actually says that he's gay because he gets dumped by a girl. And then he pretends to be gay for a certain amount of time. And it's played off as a joke. This is something that the comics and the movies suffer a lot from. And there's actually a later scene in here that I want to talk about that yet again, where they think like, haha, gay people are funny, or like, haha, trans people are funny. And I don't find any humor in that. Yeah, so I was very young, did not understand that joke. Now I do. Not funny. Next. If I ask a man about his mutation and he starts taking off his shoes, I'm leaving. Feet stuff freaks me out. I can't.
Splendid.
As much as I overdid my gagging during that scene just because his feet are kind of gross looking, I think it's very sweet. I think it's a very good introduction to Hank's character. I have no idea why he's the only one out of the original 5 who is in this movie. It's supposed to be about the origin of the X-Men. Like, hello? If this is not something you're familiar with, the original X-Men are Cyclops, Iceman, Beast, which is Hank, Jean Grey. Who did I miss? Oh my god, Warren! I am so sorry to everybody that likes Angel. I am so very sorry. I didn't mean to forget him. So those are the original 5 that Charles brings in, takes care of. In this movie, there's like a whole cast of characters that are from different time periods and different comic arcs and different writers, and I have no idea why they chose to unite them in this way.
The Russians made me this.
The Russians went for a very fashionable look for the helmet. So here we encounter something else that I don't like about this movie. It attributes every aspect of Magneto to the people that hurt him. His anger is about the people that hurt him. His helmet is about the people that hurt him. When I think about Magneto's helmet, I think of it as something he chose to make himself, to shield himself from somebody he thought who was a friend, in our case, Charles. To give it to Sebastian Shaw first and then have him take it from him, it just doesn't have the same impact on me as a fan of the comics as it does on somebody who only watched the movie and sees him take it and kind of sees it as retribution. You take something from me, I take something from you. Does that make a difference for you guys, knowing that this is not something that happens in the comics? Do you feel like it's a good thing, it's a bad thing? I don't feel either way about it. I'm just more familiar with one way than the other. Let me know in the comments.
And that this needs ice. That's me, son. There's a good girl.
So is she your girlfriend or your waitress? They were like, we need to set up this shot somehow, so go have Emma do this. That is so unsanitary. I hope he gets a movie. When it's snowing, do you go outside and you grab a fistful of snow and ice and you put it in your drink? No, you don't, because that's dirty ice. It's been outside. Like, you don't know if that's got penguin pee-pee or something. Like, you don't know what kind of polar bear you don't know what kind of polar bear has been, like, licking it.
Sorry, did I hurt you? Kinky. By the way, if I look like you, I wouldn't change a thing.
He has not seen her blue. He has no business going into this conversation. He has no business stopping that kiss. He's being weird and creepy and possessive over a woman that he hasn't even exchanged a word with. Ugh, I can't. I know this is relying on you knowing that in the other movies, the actual first trilogy, that Magneto and Mystique have something going on. I have no idea. In the comics, Mystique is actually married to a woman named Destiny, and her and Magneto have never really had a relationship. She actually was in a relationship with Charles, which is its own thing that I don't want to talk about. But why would he interrupt this? This is none of your business.